Hey guys, Mustang Doctor. Just doing a brake job tonight on the GT350. After the last race we had at the track, started noticing some serious brake rotor noise. So I just pulled the wheel off, was checking it out. I've already released the pins on these, so I think this is going to scratch all the way around. Yeah. Anyways, when I was spinning the disc, it would catch in a certain spot, but it wasn't scratching like that all the way around. So I think what had happened is the brakes got too hot in a certain spot when we locked up a couple times into the corners and just got this disc too hot, and I think it warped a little bit. That's why it's catching like once every turn, and whatever that spot is, it's warped. But we're just going to take the caliper off for right now and just inspect the pads, because I knew these pads were getting pretty low anyways. I may just replace the pads and see if that's enough, but otherwise we'll have to replace the whole rotor, which is easy but just not that cheap. So hoping that it's just the pads and we can get into it, but just wanted to kind of show you guys how we're going to go about this. They've got two pins in here. Already pulled this one out. I'm just working on pulling the second one out down here. You pretty much, they got like a little piece of the end that's coming out there. You just tap that in with a hammer. Then you just get like a small pick or something that you can hammer through, and then you can pull those pins right out of the other side, which is what I'm doing down low here. Sometimes you need pliers on that. Sometimes it's just a matter of turning it and kind of spinning it out. So just set these pins aside. Once we've got the pins out, there's just two T65 hex bolts, one there and then one down below right there. Once we pull those out, the whole disc mechanism, or the whole rotor or pad mechanism, is going to come right off. So we're just going to kind of pull that off. We're going to hang it up in here. Those pads are just going to slide right out. There's basically there's pistons in here that are holding them tight. So at first I wondered if it maybe just need to be bled a little bit, but it's just odd that it's catching in one spot. So I just want to take this apart and just inspect it and see if there's anything, if any of these pins or anything catching on the inside, and they're just seemed odd. So I'm just gonna pull these off and go from there. Okay guys, so we just got both bolts out, and now we can just take the caliper itself off. So I can set this up. And because we have a line on this back here, we do need to hold this up and bungee it so it's not just hanging there. Actually, it sits pretty good in there. All right. So we've got the pads right here themselves. Just gonna take them out and inspect them. Pretty worn, but still seem to have a lot left on them, so I don't know. All right guys, so taking these two pads out, I cleaned out a lot of debris on the center line. You can see this one's got some decent gouges taken right out of it. I almost think that might be what's scraping. So definitely going to just replace the pads and start there, just see if we can put them back together, and if it's not scraping, run with it, because those rotors itself are $600 a piece. So if they're not warped, I certainly don't want to replace them. So I'm going to start with the pads and see if this does it. Okay guys, so we got the caliper back on, original brake pads back in. I cleaned them up, found a little bit of a gouge in them, but I think they might be okay. So we're just popping the pins back in right now. These pins have to go in between the calipers, or the pads that are inside these calipers. So they've got a hook in. There's a little hole on each side. Looks like a half hole there, but there's another metal ring on the pad that's going around the side of it. And then we're going to get the same thing. You can see it right here actually. It's that hole, or that ring right there. It's got to go through there. And these pins are going to hold the caliper, or the pads inside the caliper. And then these retaining springs are going to kind of put pressure on them. So just kind of walking it in right now with a hammer. Once we get these in, we can tighten it up and run the disc around and see if we're touching. Okay guys, so we got the GT350 brakes fixed. Ended up just putting a fresh set of Brembo brake calipers on. Picked these up from the local Napa store. My buddy Carter hooked me up with these. They were actually able to get these. They had these in stock, which was crazy. But they're just carbon ceramic Brembo brake pads. So got a set for each side on the front. This was the side in question, really the outside front wheel from the track, really, that took a beating. And it was essentially just a bunch of gouges right where the center line is here. Must have taken on a rock or two or something, or some debris. We had some pretty intense corners and then a spin out in the beginning where we locked them up pretty hard. So I think they just really took quite a beating. But anyways, the team at Napa hooked me up with these Brembo ceramic, carbon ceramic brake rotors, or brake pads. You can kind of see those in there now, but basically what was happening is we were just getting a catch on a certain spot. It's possible there's a slight warp in this rotor. These are $615 a piece, so I'm not intending to buy new ones right now. I'd prefer not to, but if we get that far, I guess we may have to. But they're pretty good now. There was a huge scratch last time. As you're driving the car down the road, or even just turning the rotor like this, I can hear a hairline, but it's not bad, not anywhere near what it was. So like I said, that may just be a small warp in the rotor from when it got hot and locked up at one point. But we got another race coming up, so as long as these are, we'll track these again. That's nothing. So I'm gonna have that on these anyways with these ceramic brakes, but we're gonna track these for sure before we put fresh ones on. So that was pretty much it, just the brake pads. I don't know if we had the same problem on the back. I didn't really hear it. We jacked it up and ran the tire around a little bit. It wasn't anywhere near what this one was doing up here. So probably just gonna put this back together and we'll take it for a spin and do some tests with it. But turned out pretty good.